I'm trying to like. Yo, yo. Okay. So, um, try to give it like 2 seconds to get started or whatever. This again, this is just my attempt to be consistent in the midst of in the midst of all the mayhem. Because I definitely was going like, whatever. Everybody good with everything that's going on. So, but anyway, quick little rundown. Give me like 2 seconds. Again, I'm gonna give everybody like 2 seconds to pretend they interested. Nice. All right. So, um, yeah. So the Christmas thing. Hope everybody had a great holiday. Sure, everybody. You know what I'm saying. Everybody was trying to post up their beautiful Christmas videos and pictures and all that or whatever. And then you get the text messages and the DMs and all that or whatever, saying, yo, they doing it again and this and that or whatever. But at the same time, I'm just curious to if any of the guys that you religiously follow, like the real, the other guys that you religiously follow, like what was their thoughts, if they had any thoughts, or what was your thoughts, if anything like that. Because I got my own little theory that none of this stuff is disconnected. It's not like some random act. It's not, you know, uh, just somebody like, oh, I just want to mess up people's Christmas because it just so happened that what just happened in Nashville this past Christmas was just so happened that that's the same place where the same state that the woman was vaccinated. And every place where there's a allergic reaction or a woman gets where the nurses fall out or anything like that, just so happened there's an explosion or a bigger distraction. So definitely, for me, 1 plus 1, it's simple like that because prior to that, for New York to be as massive, and although there's a massive exodus from New York, it's a lot of people in New York, and New York is the center of propaganda. So New York had an explosion on the LIE, which is a lie, LIE. And then so happened that's when Congress was trying to pass the bill and sneak that through, and the explosion in Queens, and then the president jumped in front of that, which was great, you know, and I have my thoughts on that or whatever, but it was great for him to even jump in front of that as far as like just being able to say like, yo, this bill is wrong because no other president would do that, and even Biden is still trying to push for that bill with all the nonsense in it to go through. So um, all these Biden supporters that just don't believe anything that that's put in front of them are the ones that's taking these vaccinations. Like this one, well, I must just say, whatever they are, whoever whatever they political beliefs are or whatever, apparently they think shit is sweet. So a woman, a nurse in Nashville, Tennessee, and is obviously got suppressed by the explosion. Just, I'm sure it's a coincidence, but just so happened a black woman, a black nurse. I just seen a video. Maybe if I get 3 seconds, maybe I'll post it. If the regulars get interested in it or whatever. But a black nurse winds up saying, "Hey, respect." Yep, Wagner. say I'm connecting the dots. Well, you can read it, and I see the thing stays there. But my theory, the woman, black woman, she says she got the mask on. She's saying, "Hey, I took the shot. I took the COVID vaccine. I volunteered and took this. She volunteered. She took the shot." And then she started busting in tears. Take the mask off. Her mouth is twisted. She says she has a what you call that? Is it palsy? Cerebral? Not cerebral palsy, but it's the other one. Um, she has well, her mouth is twisted. She has the severe allergic effect. She has it now. Like it's her face is twisted. I'll definitely post up the video. But in the same state, same city, Nashville, and that also is the same place where the woman who fell out. So yeah, obviously Nashville or Tennessee in general, because the first one was Chattanooga. That's where the woman fell out. And then and the other woman, she was directly in Nashville. So just to show, like, she was black, and somebody in New York also had a severe effect. And you've seen, hopefully, if you follow the posts, the woman in New York also had a severe reaction, or a nurse, they call it a healthcare worker. She had a severe reaction too, and you don't see the face, you don't hear the name, and the story blows away. And the reason why is just amazing, because New York with all the big mouths, like coming from New York City, like knowing New York City with all the big mouths and all the this and that, and whatever. Now, I'll be the first to admit New York City is no longer New York City. Like, as a New Yorker, I would say New York City is not what it used to be. It's not close to what it used to be. And yeah, it's just yeah, just don't take the shot at if you're smart enough, don't take that shot. So the woman in New York City gets the shot, has a severe reaction, and before New York City could the media could get a hold of the story, there's an explosion, and then the bill. So before you could even hear about the story is hush in New York City, with millions and millions of people that still left in New York City. So now let's just go back a little bit. The reason why this is even worth talking about, because I don't want to, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse with people who already know better. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you already know better, I'm not expecting nobody to randomly say, you know what, I'm gonna take the, I don't expect nobody to do that. But the reason why I'm saying that is because if you go back a year or so in New Jersey, it was an RV. No, it was a U-Haul, that they said it was going to be an explosion, and they had to stop it and all of that. And just so happened, they was trying to make that explosion. They try to say, oh, it was Hebrews who did that. So the only reason I'm speaking on that, it was because my little conversation back and forth with the Hebrews some years earlier, and just saying, like, yo, you got to pay attention to everything. Don't think that you're excluded from reality while waiting for the angels to come from the sky and do whatever. But um just so happened in Jersey last year or so, uh, it was the same situation, but it got neutralized. The bomb didn't go off, I believe, right? So now, fast forward to this whole scenario, you see that they try to say, "Oh, this person is a Muslim or whatever," like, and easily that story can shift into black people again, and that's the only reason I'm saying something now. Like, just stop. Like, everybody know, well, maybe you don't, because a lot of the guys who would be considered regular speakers, or people who would be a lot more vocal, they would say that a lot of them are saying they don't know what's happening. None of these guys really know what's happening right now. So I'm saying, like, you know, basically it's the same guys doing the same thing for the same motive. It's the they're just trying to cover their tracks, because everywhere that somebody's injured from the vaccine, all of a sudden there's a bigger what's bigger than somebody being injured from a massive international program. If the vaccine is an international program and the feds is even having an issue with Pfizer and with these guys, like, it just shows you, obviously their strength, their power, and the length that they'll go, because a lot of the governors are just, it's like they're auditioning to be the puppet for this so-called, great reset. And even the thing with that, with this whole great reset thing, is like, it's not that you say, oh, there's no great reset or nothing. Like, you don't it's not, that's not what you say. It's like you get an opportunity to control a narrative. That's really what it is. It's over. Like, it's not going to be back to what it was. A lot of my friends, a lot of my close friends, and some family members or whatever, think that, oh, when things go back to normal, and it's like they got babies wearing masks, they got children, the children are traumatized. Excuse me. It's it's like this is scarred on a lot of people's mind. A lot of people became hardcore drug addicts, alcoholics. A lot of people was lost for whatever reasons. It's not something that you can just say, oh, things are going to go back to normal and magically everybody can just go back to playing basketball and shooting each other and doing all silly stuff, although that's happening at the same time, because some people really think that you know they don't see the connection. In this whole great reset thing, you got to connect back to reconstruction time, and that's starting anew again. And reconstruction, Tuskegee, all of those things, it's all the same timeline. Like, it's not like it's a different timeline. It's the same thing. During reconstruction, right, what wind up happening was, okay, you had the law of the land, and America was America, right? But the the reconstruction was the fact that, not just the fact that emancipation and the Civil War, it wasn't just that. It was the fact that the United States was incorporated at that time. So there was a shift in how things was run. The United States became incorporated. So right now, with this whole great reset, things is changing like that. It's like, okay, we was doing things this way, and you maybe got used to doing things that way. And right now there's going to be a great change as far as how things are governed, as far as how things are, like, you don't got to, you see Wonder Woman is on streaming at the same time. All of this stuff was said years ago, and they was just trying to figure out the timing of when they would do it. So I kind of knew, all of this stuff. That's why most people that are that are in that space, as far as advertisements and things like that, kind of already know, because it was already projected. Because that's, we got to figure out, okay, how are you going to advertise in the future? So you got to forecast. You got to know where your audience is going to be at, because you want to make money. But when it yeah, definitely hit that like button. Please hit that like button, share it, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. Definitely let people, get a part of this conversation. Uh, but Reconstruction, 1871, the United States, Germany, all the so-called, great nations wind up becoming incorporated. So it was the nation, and then it was the incorporated nation. Just like it's your name, then it's a straw man. So, and if you know anything about that whole, you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But uh, that is where that started. Reconstruction starts 1863 and ends 1870 something. I don't know. You can look it up yourself. It's all researchable. But in between there, you got the Civil War. You got the United States coming into being, with the incorporation and this whole emancipation of enslaved people, uh, and with that whole shift, it wasn't about, okay, people are free, African Americans were just set free, and things were cheery after that. What wound up happening was, which again I said maybe some years back, was the fact that the Union was paper hustlers. So it was like, chattel slavery, people fight, people rebel, and all you're gonna do if you keep trying to, beat somebody down, when they actually fought with you to win a war, you're gonna start fighting back, and other people will join them, and force is met by force after a while. So psychological warfare was the way to go at that time, which was with the paperwork, and that's why they try to push, reading and writing and all of those things out of main society for a while, just so you couldn't understand the double speak and legalese. So what wind up happening was, it went from, okay, you're in chains, to now we have, your quote unquote name that winds up being a slave. So that's what that whole reconstruction, where it was no longer chattel slavery, it was more your paperwork is where they get you now. So where, okay, you're walking around and all of a sudden anything you do is a crime, and all of a sudden the 13th Amendment that set you free, um, locked you back up. So everything that you was doing, everything that people was doing, anybody can actually wind up becoming a slave, because 13th Amendment, if you commit a crime, you're basically a slave after that. Like you're not accused, if you're locked up for a crime, if you wind up being sent to jail, or the judge rules or whatever, that the crime is on you, right? So all because of that mindset, those people, and that whole system didn't go anywhere. It just, so this whole reconstruction thing is that again. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely it's definitely free game for, for the people, because it's information that's out there. So it's not like, oh, that's a big secret. It's just two and two, and just again connecting the dots so people could kind of like have a cohesive, because a lot of things are so separated. A lot of people feel that this doesn't connect with that, and that doesn't connect with that, and why would somebody do that? So it's not, oh, if it was a Muslim bomber in Tennessee, so who was it in friggin' New York City? Who was it in New York City that there's an explosion after a nurse says that she had a severe reaction? And what it is the hospitals and the rest of these characters, they have no, a lot of these, people don't have integrity. So it's not that people aren't having severe reactions, they're just not reporting them. And one hospital, they seemed a little upset that they did, but one hospital had enough integrity to say, our nurse had a severe reaction. So that got reported, and that's all that was needed to cut through. And a few of the mainstream media, bit onto it and try to put it up, and then there's an explosion, and then that's when that whole bill that Congress is trying to muscle through, that becomes the conversation, and you don't hear anything about the nurse, that the healthcare worker that winds up having a severe reaction in New York City. And it's like, it's New York City, man. Like, how could that not be, you know, heard throughout the world? Because everything is, as far as the dollar, as far as, propaganda and news media and newspapers and all of that, it's, the core is New York City as far as that. Now, big tech, that's California, China, Russia, all over the world is big tech. But traditional propaganda and the dollar itself is all core. The core has been New York City for a really long time, and still basically is, because Wall Street, etc. Right? So when you see these stories just popping up and magically disappearing, but at the same time they're trying to see how long could they do this, without the people catching on. You got what I'm saying? So again, for me, it's not rocket science. It's not, it's not that hard to figure out. But again, most of these other guys, are either really young, so they really think it's a game, and they really think that anarchy is the answer, and they really think that it's the Democrats and the Republicans, and not understanding that it's all that's two wings on the same bird type of thing. Like, and again, to reiterate from what I said last Saturday is I'm more with Trump than with Biden, only because Biden still is trying to push that bill through. The only reason Trump jumped in front of that, even though if his guys were even a part of writing it, matter of fact, let's scratch that for a second. If nobody in Congress, if nobody in Congress read the bill, who wrote the bill? That's 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 really what it should be. That's really the question. If nobody in Congress read the bill, who's writing these bills? And no wonder it has to be these foreign banks, because they're funneling it, through Congress, through the guys that they buy out, that you would hear George Carlin or Bill Cooper say, yo, it's these guys, and these guys with these foreign interests and globalists, etc. But they got all of these shell companies in different countries. So they funnel it through the U.S. to the other companies, and then do the kickbacks back to these congressmen and senators that so happen to pass the bill, and they get rewards for that. The same way the doctors are being rewarded with kickbacks for allowing, for hush money, and also there is paperwork. I seen that they are paying people up to $750 to take the vaccine. $750 to gamble with your life, and they wanted to give the people $600 to deal with the same experiment that everybody else is going through. Now, the money, a lot of guys who are like supposedly like economic savvy, or financially savvy or whatever, they still operate on the old school methods and don't even understand that today's money is not, first, money hasn't been real in a really long time. It's not like, the dollar was based on something. So it's been a part of some magical fantasy for a really long time. So um yeah, it was more than 500 million that they were sending to the other countries. It was like, they were sending money to basically erase you out of history, because you send billion 1.5 billion to Egypt, right? And they're doing a lot of expeditions in Egypt, and what's happening is these expeditions, they're digging up your bones all over the place. They're digging up they digging up, these bones and sites all over the place. And then they was going to give another billion to the Smithsonian to house the bones. So and fund other places, because even in I seen this one program a couple of years ago, where they lifted up an entire temple from South America. They stole an entire temple, and they put it, who knows, but it was these guys. They figured out where it was at and whatever, and they was like, "Yeah, we got pictures of it." And when they try to go and get to the temple, the entire temple was dug up and missing. So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with, these people that are literally trying to shift and move the pieces and alter history, because as history is told through big tech, you see you see the key people who we would say have integrity, that would tell our stories, like Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, John Henry Clark, all of these, amazing professors and doctors and scholars that are amazingly well studied and have been countering counterintelligence, for lifetimes, right? Because with this whole great reset, that's all it's about. It's about trying to crumble and belittle everybody else and stay ahead of the population. But at the same time, they're saying we have to spread the wealth. We got to spread the wealth, because in reality, it's not that deep to be doing all of this stuff anymore. Like you don't have to do all of this stuff. You don't have to kill these people. Like the money is so like they got a 9-year-old that's a millionaire from YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like this digital money is really all it is. It's coming through the dollar, but it's all of these different websites. How do you think they get? How do you think everybody's getting rich? So if they're going to say, oh, we only got 600 for you, and if we give everybody money, then we don't have any money, or the money's going to be no good anymore, then that mean they're saying that Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett and the rest of these characters who's the Google owners, not the face cards. I'm talking about the owners. You're basically saying their money will be no good either. So don't just say the money that we get is no good, because their money will be no good either. So they're not rich either. They won't be rich. They won't be billionaires or multi-billionaires or trillionaires or anything like that. Because if the money that you have is no good, then their money is no good either. So they're just regular like you too. So there's no reason to take bribes or any of these things if they're saying, oh, it's all null and void. So don't give me that story about, oh, the money's going to be no good if we keep just stop that. It's obvious that the money is there and it just keeps accumulating because they already stole $30 trillion since January. Since January to now, give or take, it might be a little over 30 by now. But my estimate from when I first seen them steal the 11 trillion, I was like, they're going they're going they're going to make it to 30 or better. They probably over by now. But the bills that you see is the ones where they say, okay, and we got something for the people. Where this bill that they just presented was supposed to be for the people, and all of a sudden, they like, oh, and we also have something for the people. This $600, and you see, um, the speaker, or what's his name, Mitch McConnell, saying, he's there with his multi-billionaires and everybody standing around him, and he's like, yeah, I don't care how good the bill will be, I'm going. He becomes the one who's going to knock it down. Now the thing is, I understand Congress, Senate, and presidential. So I understand politics, enough, and this always do more research. But now in Congress, it was like 500 people that voted for the bill, right? Maybe 20 or 5 people that voted against it. And so the bill passed through Congress and Senate, with just breezed through and made it to the president. And it took the president to veto it for it even, and only because of the people. And, only because of the people did that, get vetoed, because he would have let it go by if the people would have said nothing. But he is what I like. His flaw becomes a strength for the people. His flaw is he loves being the people guy. He loves being the people pleaser. Like President Trump is the one who wants to be, what you call those people, like show offs, like, and because he feed his ego, whether you like it or not, it works in your favor if you cheer him on when he does the right thing. Now, on the other side, the other guy, Biden or whatever the case is, now I just don't like him, period, from 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, because his track record shows he's a dirtbag. And all the way up to now, he already sold the people out, and he's not even in the office. That's why the Pentagon doesn't even want to give him any information. They're not clearing nothing with him. So if the Pentagon don't trust him, I don't even understand how brothers and sisters in the street It's like, yeah, Biden. I didn't understand that, and I think they're starting to, the spell is starting to wear off a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, because um his Zoom call that he did leaked, and I've seen people, sharing it or whatever, and they sent it to me a few times, just saying like, "Yo, check this out. Like, maybe you could do something with this and whatever." Where he basically, I guess he thought he was talking to his good old boys, because the way he was talking to those all black Zoom listeners or whoever was invited to this private Zoom call, where they was all black, and he's like, the world is going to be all bad because of black people, something to that, give or take, just paraphrasing, just saying like, he's doom and gloom of the future because black people were becoming a part of society in a more um productive or creative way, or whatever whatever his reasoning or logic for that. Just saying about 2040 this and that is going to happen or whatever, because he keep bringing up 2035, 2040, 2055, 2050. So the play is to stall everybody out from now to then, right? So that's why, again, I didn't even want to get to this point. That's why I didn't even want none of this stuff to even to get this far when it was novel. That's why I said leave it at novel. It's a joke. It's a it's a prank. Leave it at that. But again, everybody wanted a new hero. Everybody wanted a new voice, and all these friggin' goofballs running around saying it was 5G. They was like, "Oh, it's 5G," and I'm like, "Oh my god." That goes viral. 40,000 people sharing, all of these perfect distractions and operatives and all of these different, and I'm like, where are you sharing these? Like, who are these people just popping out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they know it's 5G that's causing people to get sick. Who are these people? And they sharing this thing, and it goes all over the place, and everybody's sharing it, and everybody's giving theories about 5G. So it took, a little cleverness to go on that site, and kind of like prod the people like, yo, it's Bill Gates. It's like, it worked though. My hashtag has went viral. My hashtag was arrest Bill Gates. That shit went around the world. Like, I see people got big cars and protests, arrest Bill Gates protests, just from a small hashtag that I did, just saying, okay, stop with this friggin' 5G thing. Like, it's not 5G if the 5G is not even rolled out everywhere, right? And half of the stuff they saying with this virus, man, or with anything. Let's go back to the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu, right? Wasn't even, Spain had it squared away, so that was just a racist thing because the Hispanic population was growing in the states, so that was just purposely done on some to be prejudiced, so people can prejudge Hispanic people as a problem in a disease that was growing. So that was something else. But Bill Gates, in his presentation of what was going to happen in 2015, when he was giving his thing, and everybody thought he was the good guy, except me and a handful of us. Um, his thing was, he showed his big graph that he made with his computer program, and his theory was that started in Africa, and then you see it pop up in different places. And you know what? My goddaughter had friggin' she had gave me a map, and I should have had the map up, right now, but I was like, I'll do it later, so next time. But but my thing is, if you sneeze in your house, I don't get sick. How are people sneezing in Africa and getting sick in friggin' China and in America and different places? Because it was purposely um, perpetuated as to be this thing when they was poisoning people back then. So it's the same playbook, the same tricks, and they feel people were stupid enough to fall for the same things, because the electric car is not a new thing. Self-driving and self-parking cars are not new. Um, you know, the big oil guys, they suppressed that industry about 100 years ago. They suppressed that. So it's the same deal. Like they're trying to like suppress the future again. And if people today, with all of this technology and this, it's like the greatest time to be like, I'm gonna say the greatest time to be alive, but it's like financially and creatively, we got access and the ability to do everything that you ever like. The possibility to be great is there, like to be that Atlantis again, opposed to these same guys trying to sell you the broken vacuum. It's like, yo, I got a vacuum. This guy's knocking on your door every friggin' Wednesday to sell you a broken vacuum. And that's what it is with this chip. Like it's like selling a broken vacuum, like a friggin' blender or something, something that those guys used to back in the days, try to have this one product or whatever and try to sell you the product. And it's like they're trying to push this one thing, and it's like, fam, it don't work, man. Like we don't want it. It don't work. Like if China's, they trying to push everybody to this China thing because of the Rockefeller deal in the 70s that they did to, turn everything from made in America to made in China. And that connect to that whole, Rhodes Scholar of retaking America. Like, I think on the dollar bill, you see the snake eating itself, right? I mean, that's basically what it is. When you see these people from the industry, when you see these people from the different industries um, selling each other out, if the dancing nurses actually, yeah, I could dig what you're saying as far as they want the DNA from the king. That's without a doubt. But it's more than the DNA from those kings and queens from uh, ancient times. Um, it's the technology that they was using, because what it is everything that we have today, anything that you have, anything that that we're dealing with right now was already done. It's old. All of this stuff right here, computers, all of this stuff is really, and there's proof of it being invented already and old. So any and everything that you're doing or thinking of is just basically reverse engineered from something that was discovered, and then they give it to different schools, for their students to figure it out. So whether, even if you're saying like Amazon and the rest of these, none of this stuff is like original thought. These things are things that they reverse engineer and then try to resell it to you. They try to resell you your products. Like, what was this king or what was these people doing? Okay, they was using this, they was using that. um you know they can't find, these people wasn't using plastic. Why? Well, obviously because it would destroy the environment. So, you know clay and things that can last through time and recycle. Everything and throughout time is rocks and natural materials. So they basically trying to go back and see if they can find new drugs. And really the biggest play is Australia, because Australia and more parts of the southern Africa area have the greatest wealth of material, natural, of a resource. This resource that actually, you can make a lot of new technology with. But man, the way, even with that bill, just saying, saying cut out that whole 230 thing just to get a little grip on this, on this whole internet thing. I think that's the right call too by Trump, just saying that. I know Japan and China are ahead of America tech wise. In reality, America, the only reason America even would be considered behind on technology is because the boot is on black people's neck. Get the fuck off our neck. Get off of us, right? And stop programming stupid shit and just trying to use us for freaking experiments in prison and all of that. And everything that's been progressive have come from black people anyway. Stop with the stupid shit already, right? Because okay, China just sent the big, uh, in the rap game we would call it a subliminal message, a sub, and niggas, a sub this or whatever, right? China's message to European nation was them sending a drone to burn a wasp nest. Maybe you don't get that. Now, if you understand Ku Klux Klan and this whole theory of Anglo-Saxons and all of this other stuff, that's wasp. So what a drone is, it's basically a wasp, a male wasp also, which are the ones that's in Congress and the ones that's in Britain and this place and that place. And they're using their drones to destroy the homes or the nest of these wasps, these Anglo-Saxons. So that was China message maybe a couple of weeks ago. Maybe a couple of weeks ago. That was like, hey, we're using a drone to burn up the wasp, to destroy wasp. And there's different locations, and that's what we're going to do. So that was a message that Europe should take in consideration as they're selling out their own people and holding down the people that's actually like, you know what? Bygones could be bygones if you actually stop giving our money away. You understand the trillions and the trillions there and the trillions there and the money that they saying they don't got to give you back to do the proper propaganda to get people focused and stop with the stupid programs and stop lying to the people. And unfortunately, some people enjoy the lies because of the programs have been done for so long. And just to answer the people who think anarchy is the way, I'll leave you with this one, just saying that something that Dr. Clark, excuse me, Dr. Clark had discovered in his journeys to try to figure out, where he said it wasn't when he was trying to figure out like how did people survive, like what was the thing if you didn't have prisons, and what would make people not commit crimes and things like that. And it wasn't anarchy, it was this there's another word that's floating around where people are just just chaotic, right? It was honor and obligation. Honor and obligation, which equals integrity. Honor and obligation equals integrity, and loyalty is already, that's a given. So you don't got to worry about loyalty when you have honor and obligation, when you're obligated to do the right thing because you got honor, right? So that's a man of integrity. So what happened in Tennessee is the snake eating itself, where you see the system destroying itself for the sake of, for the sake of the system that's, people so happen to be feeding on, and, or, feeding off of. And in the long run, stuff like that doesn't work out because they already know they want control over the people. And my thing with population control, I know some people might have seen me promoting that and saying that's what it's going to wind up to, because any visions that I have, I put it in my content, right? So I made that call a while ago. Because I'm like, they're going to go this way, this way, and that way, and it's going to go to that. And the thing is, when you understand, when they saying like Saturn and Jupiter and this and that and all the energy and all of those things, and you see people who's supposed to be hypersensitive or hyper spiritual and all of that, all it is polarity to everything. So if you're saying, population control and they want this, then you got to understand the polarity. The opposite of that would be population controlling the Great Reset, right? So they countered a lot of the people by bad schooling, terrible environment to live in. Your community is that self-destructive mentality. So when it came to this great conjunction and this and all of these spiritual things that you could be tapping into and rising up and doing the right thing, they, they altered or have it altered where, they feeding, stealing the energy and using fear and with hopes of controlling the future. Because I'm like, what is the big deal of, like, if the president if the presidency lasts 4 years, right, and then you could get another 4 years, that's only 8 years. You greedy bastards can't wait till this guy's over and then start it, and then put your man in, your Biden or any one of these bozos in. Like, not that we want a bozo in, but I'm just saying, like, at the same time, like, what the like they killed Kennedy, they killed Lincoln, they can't, they never could wait. Like he only got 2 more years left or a year left or whatever. They kill these guys, but nowadays it's just a little different because they kill your character, right? And need to get into the conversation about Theodore Roosevelt because it's been going on for years. Like, that's how Woodrow Wilson um, came into power, because they killed. They had Hardin's President Hardin's wife poison him. She poisoned him. They put Woodrow Wilson in, sent all the Congress that was voting against this Federal Reserve Act. They put them on the Titanic, sink the Titanic, have Woodrow Wilson sign the Federal Reserve Act. That goes through. After his presidency is over, he's like, "Ooh, I sold out the country." So they do shit with long term thing. You know what I'm saying? Whereas a lot of people really think that this stuff is like, you know, just for today. When this shit is like the plan, like a plan. These guys are not, thinking short term. This is not like week in a weekend check to check for people who print money. You got what I'm saying? Like, they're thinking, lifetimes and beyond generations, centuries in advance with hopes of, so a lot of this stuff is not, it's not really rocket science, and it doesn't have to be chaotic. And people should know better and need to get a hold of the children or the younger dudes that's around them, just to try to, get, not try, do your best to get them focused. And there's a lot more people focused, so that's why, again, I applaud this quote unquote woke era, because I'd rather you be woke rather than some gang banging, wanted, because that's what it was turning into. Everybody wanted to be a gang banger, even in the conscious community. Personally, that's why I was like, oh, you guys want to be gang members, y'all, you want to be street so bad that you're turning into a gang. And that's another reason for them to lock you, to do our, you seen that thing, you seen it happen with the Panthers. And, like, come on, man, like, why would you go down the same path that you seen the trap is there? You know what I'm saying? And you seen, if you didn't see it, I'll post that too, where what's the homie, they killed him in his house on the bed. What's the homie, Fred Hampton? Fred Hampton, they killed in the bed. Where he basically was saying, like, yo, they create these groups, whether it's Black Lives Matter or Antifa and this and that. They create these anarchist groups to set the children up, to set the younger dudes up, or the naive people that, up, to set them up to get slaughtered. That's the same thing. It's just something, that's just the facts. Like, right now, if I'm considered an elder and you got which is crazy, because it's just millennials are old now. You know what I'm saying? So, again, if my little information at this point is helping anybody, because I was like, oh, I don't want to go. I wanted to go live when I got that, I got all this information, and then I was like, I don't know, but at the same time, I appreciate people who do log on and rock with me. Yeah. So yeah, man. I'm gonna just close it out with this, with just saying, like, the Tennessee thing that happened. Basically, all of these different explosions. It's not some Muslim radical group or this or that they try to spin the story. It's big pharma working with big tech, and for them to snatch up an oil rig. I went, still some of these oil guys involved, but a lot of the all you guys that's connected with, with Trump, they cool. But then you got, all you guys that's from PA. So in Tennessee, they done shot a nurse, like literally gunned her down in a car, and try to say, oh, it was just a drive-by. Just so all of a sudden, all these nurses are randomly dying from other things, so it's just an explosion is just so happened to be bigger news because it's an explosion. And it's not like, again, it's not rocket science to me, because it's like, wait a minute, I just seen a nurse from Nashville with a whole face twisted talking about, guys, I was one of the dummies that took the fucking thing. Don't take it. She's like crying and pleading to the people, like, yo, I was a fucking dummy. Don't do like she did, for the little bit of money. And it's only $750. Now, don't get me wrong, $750, you could do stuff with $600, but it should have been $8,000. It should have been $8,000, and you wouldn't have to worry about this bill or that bill. So these cheap, fucking greedy, stingy, selfish bastards is holding on to the money. They already got their money, so they really don't give a fuck anyway. So just chill the fuck out. Tell your family and friends, everybody, just relax, chill, stay out the way. Don't be stupid. Stay focused. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. Hey, I appreciate you logging on, G Deb. So just let people know your brother Royale. That's what my theory is. This, other guys, other people, they got what they think. They're gonna say what they want to say or whatever. And I just want the people who's focused and know what it is, just to know what it is. Keep rocking with me. You see, I'm trying to be consistent. I'm trying to, I did Saturday. I did 2 Saturdays in a row. And this is the goal, to be consistent. So between 7 and 9, because I get a little shaky sometimes. I be like, I don't know if I'm gonna go on, and so it turns for 7 turns into 9, and you see where we at today. But again, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, please press the like, but please press the like. Share the video. This is just the raw version that, from the last one. I did a recap. I'm looking at the other video that we did. I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, oh, it had a lot of energy on the last one, and there's a lot of things to clip up, so these just be super raw before I chop it up and put it on other platforms as, as something else or whatever. But yeah, it's the same guys. It's the vaccine people. They not trying to go away easily, because trillions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars on the line. Obviously, trillions of dollars to pass 2.3 trillion and only give the people $600, which wasn't even adding up to the 900 billion that they were saying they was passing on. So it's a lot of money at stake. But the thing is, the money is fucking fake. So it's not like, oh, and we can't spend this money. The money's fake. Relax. And all your economists and all of these stupid guys that's thinking this and that, and it, like, the money's coming from the clicks. This YouTube shit, I don't get a fucking dime from this shit. It's like 0.000001, and then finally, when I meet the goal, they demonetize my channel and move the goalpost somewhere else and tell me I need to do something else. So basically, that's what the money is. 2.2 trillion, and 0.000 of that would be $600. So the great experiment is having everybody and having all of us, online and clicking and this and that, because it's a psychological experiment at the same time of benefiting off of shifting everybody from their traditional things, and where they were saying, if you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that. And when they threaten to take it away, they see people, fight to get it, because all of a sudden this quote unquote, which would, Christmas or Horus or whatever it is, all of a sudden everybody became hyper religious and closed everything down. I was like, wow, it's like everything is closed. Like usually it's something open, like, yeah, this person don't celebrate it, so they can work in the stores, and everything was closed. Everybody just wanted to chill. But I thought the devil took a break, and he didn't. That explosion was there, And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I kind of, it just had the vibe. That's why I didn't even post. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. I was like, these guys is playing games. It's not like, I'm happy when other people are happy. Um, and I appreciate when people, send the joy back. You got what I'm saying? So, um, that's about it though. But again, I appreciate the ride. I appreciate you riding with me on this one, and hopefully, again, we make it to next Saturday. We could do it again, either 7, 8, or 9. It's 7 through 9 is the time we go live, and again, that'll be that. That's so far Saturday is squared away. Anything other than that, I'll do like the little post. I try to post the music. I was like, yo, I'm gonna put up this freestyle. I put it up. I'm the only one that watched that. I'm like, what the hell, man? I don't know if press the notification, man. Put the notification. Just put the notification. Press it. Watch the shit. Watch it later. Just click it, press it, watch it later, or whatever. Because it's bad enough as it is. They wearing me down. They wearing me down with with the restrictions and this and that, just for even sharing information with the people though. Hey, Marilyn, thank you for logging on. Thank you for logging on. Yes, yes. So again, Tennessee, the explosion was only because of what? It was only because they was trying to cover up their trail from what they did to the nurse. Nurse wind up getting her face twisted. It's called, oh my God, what's the name of this thing? Like, not something with a P. Where you something face, like a nurse in Nashville just wind up getting like. I want to see if I can fucking get her. She said she had. Let me see if I can find it before I close out, just so you can see what I'm talking about. I just deleted it. If I can find it without deleting it. Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy. So she was like, I got Bell's palsy now. Face is twisted. She was one of those black people, Biden supporters that just really thought you conspiracy theorists just don't know what you're talking about. They would never do something like that to us. She was tearing her eyes out. It took somebody from like Russia or Poland to share this shit just for it to hit the United States. How about that? Because they knocked out the whole um they knocked out their internet. So nothing, all the nurses that they injured in Tennessee that start speaking up and things like that, apart from knocking it off, they knocked out their service so they can't share the information. And so it took somebody from Russia to share the shit, or wherever, wherever, Poland, Russia, it's from a foreign country that had to, skip over and get the nurses plea or confession, just saying what happened with her with the thing, because they're not allowing these nurses to speak. So they got to go out of their way to speak and say anything, because they're killing them. They're literally, oh, you got injured. Where's the original nurse? I see a little rumor floating around saying that she died and this and that. I can't call that. I don't know if she died or not, but I don't see her. Like, she could do a follow up, but they said, oh, she's passed away. And the fact checkers. The fact checkers are like, no, 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 she didn't pass away, because we said she didn't pass away. And it's like, show her at the club then. Show her Christmas. Let's see her, standing in front of a Christmas tree. Not no computer graphics and none of that or whatever. So you don't see none of that stuff. All these happy nurses that was like, yeah, we getting it and we got it, yo. Wow. A lot of them, they would be celebrating with that money that they got for even getting the shot, right? Like, because you already got your check and you got a bonus for taking the shot, that they would feel extra blessed, and they would be extra flossy. I know a lot of these nurses would be they would be flossing on you with a new bag or new this or a new trip or a new that. Nope. They knock them completely offline. You don't see or hear from them anymore because they don't want them to talk and tell you what's really going on. But a lot of people, at least, are focused enough. That's why the feds is like, if the people call you out, we might have to pull your whole program down. So again, that program. Big Pharma is being funded by the left and the right, and I don't whatever left wing, right wing, Republicans, Democrats. Trump pushed it through. Biden's with it, and that's why he can't say. That's why Trump can't save us so much, but Biden is like, yeah, yeah, go, go, go. So the only thing is, the only Trump is like, well, give them some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, give them some money. You're doing this bullshit to them. At least give them something out of this, all of this trash. Because back in the days, um, it was like, fuck it, let them get the child, let them hit the child line and starve. That's what it was back in the days, and that's Biden's mentality is child line them niggas, fuck them niggas, and Mitch McConnell and the rest of these his billionaire friends, and it's like, nigga, Jeff Bezos is damn near at $1 trillion, nigga. I know you ain't saying the people should be in the streets starving, and you fucking okay. I'm trying to end on a good note. Hope everybody enjoyed the holidays. Yo, peace and love to you, Raz Justice. Okay. Nah. It was Bell palsy. I know I was trying to figure it out. Parkinson's. Shavasti says, it was Bell palsy. Bell palsy. So yeah. Um, but I'm glad you guys, made it, and we made it. We gonna make it through this. We gonna make it through because it's regular. It's regular. It's not like, oh my god, like it's still regular. I know what they want to do. They're not there. They're not there. So they gotta, you know, piece by piece. And the thing is, the ancestors and the energy is really it's on our side. So that's why I'd be like, yo, stay focused, stay focused. Don't rock with those bogus dudes, you know, and if it's entertainment, leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? As just, you're entertained by it, but don't be distracted by it, if you understand what I mean. Keep your filters up with all of the crap that's going on. Don't take none of the stuff that any of these characters are saying. Leave it at face value. Don't take any of that stuff as this is what it is. I don't care if they got a British accent, an African accent, if they black, if they white, Asian. Don't take, I'm telling you, these guys are professionals, professional liars, professional bullshit artists, and all of that. So, yeah. So, again, same guys on the same shit. That was Big Pharma. Paid somebody, paid these people. And at the same time, the RV just so happened they had an RV story showing that people are doing what now? What are people doing with the RVs? Being that, they getting, some of these people are losing their homes already or whatever. People start investing in RVs. People with houses and apartments there and houses there, they start investing in RVs. One of my homies he bought the RV and all of that. A lot of people buying RVs. So if you start scaring people saying, so you kill two birds with one stone, you can say, oh, we need to do this to the RVs and scare people. So anytime you see somebody traveling and trying to survive, now you're thinking, oh, could this be the end of the world? Like, so it's a lot. You understand psychological warfare is not to be taken lightly. That's why I got a song called "Free Your Mind," and it's all about that in a good way. Man, you said ISUBK is encouraging people to take the vaccine. I mean, it's not just them. I seen Lupe Fiasco. I seen uh I didn't see Fat Joe. I heard Fat Joe saying it. As you see the governors and presidents and uh so it's not just them, you know what I'm saying? It's just sad when you see our people encourage people to jump off the cliff type shit. Like what? But again, some of those brothers were the same ones that was trying to disconnect the Africa from America. So, you know, that's the Fed thing. That's something that's COINTEL. it's not rocket science to me, because why would you disconnect African Americans? Like, why would you disconnect Africans from Americans? And I don't understand. Now, China, India, they got these massive populations. America, we're a fraction of their population. So the only other connection that we would have, would be Africa. And as Africa is saying, okay, we'll connect with you, and whatever, we'll right any wrongs that we was a part of. You have this community saying disconnect from them. And then you see it from internally. Then you got all the other outside forces saying. So for me, I see that as, it's the same guys doing the same stupid stuff that's led, or they've been infiltrated, and everybody saying stupid things like take a vaccine or any of that shit is like, these guys are, they should be the first ones on on the web, any of that. Yeah. All of them and all the vaccine makers are not liable for the damage that they do. So, and at the same time, I'm sure to get that money, you got to fill out some paperwork. So, yeah, and so the only ones that that's actually getting help uh, is the vaccine companies. For them to even make it this far with the damage done so far, because it's a big experiment on top of another experiment on top of another experiment. So it's like multiple experiments going on at the same time, and you're supposed to be paid for all of that. Supposed to be paid for all of that. So you know, um, again, I appreciate you guys logging on, and let's try to keep it up. Doctor took and got COVID after vax. Marilyn says the doctor took uh, the vax and still got COVID because it's a eugenics program. And again, these doctors and nurses supposed to have the big brains. They're supposed to be the intelligent ones in the community. They're supposed to be the ones that we say, "Oh, you became a doctor." Like you became a you read a lot of books, so you know better. So imagine, imagine, you know, the people that don't know any better, and that's how they got the people with Tuskegee, because the people in what that you had again, which ties to the Reconstruction area and all of that, but and it ties to Theodore Roosevelt and man, oh, that me and Pit Boss be going back and forth with, because he loved Booker T, I love Booker T, but I'm a W.E. Du Bois guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what wound up happening was Booker T did a deal with Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt was ostracized for inviting Booker T to dinner. That dinner, in the media, they was so upset that the president invited a black man to dinner that they said it wasn't dinner, it was lunch. That's how crazy it got. After that dinner, that they called a lunch after that, they said everything negative about Theodore Roosevelt, because his house, which is in New York City, his house in New York City after that, because he had Irish slaves. I went through the tour of Theodore Roosevelt's house. I got footage and filmed that too, right? He said he had Irish slaves, right? And he had African statues and black stuff all over his house. So he had a lot of respect for the African and American culture. So him inviting, Booker T to dinner, it was regular for him because he's a well-traveled man, right? So, um, uh, it's Royale 10. It's Royale 10 is the Cash App, brother. Um, and I appreciate that ahead of time. Like, I thank you for even the gesture. That's the Cash App is the Royale 10. Um, but His dinner. You say you lost your job because of COVID. Single father of two. Please, anything else? Currently looking for work. Man, depends on where you at because it's still a lot of places that people hiring a lot of places. You know what I'm saying? Like people will still hire. I mean, and then they did lift up the damn minimum wage. So but what did happen was the fact that um so what did happen was, and the brother left his cash out there too. So what did wind up happening with the Theodore, got to get clearance. What you gonna do? Um, what did happen with Theodore Roosevelt in that dinner was the fact that because he had that dinner with him, they plotted on Booker T. Because Booker T program was to help America, was to help black people, get what they call it. You gonna lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Things. Booker T was, you know, yo, we gonna get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna work like everybody else working. Don't shit on us because we gonna be a productive part of society, rightfully so. So Pip Walls can, he can really give you the drill on on all the accomplishments of Booker T. But my thing is, I knew they was plotting on Booker T. You understand? So maybe he might not see it like that way, but what it is with Booker T. With Booker T, he started the Tuskegee Institute. Now, what came from Tuskegee Institute? The Tuskegee Airmen. Now, the thing was from to, from that Tuskegee program, a lot of brilliance was starting to show the nation, the world, that there's brilliance. And it started because of this connection of the president with Booker T. Now, at that time, this is the height of white supremacy. At the height of white supremacy, they seen that as a kick in the teeth. So their plot was destroy that shining light, put that candle out. So they plotted on Tuskegee from that dinner all the way decade after decade after decade after decade. And it's in the paper, it's in documents, it, it's there. I got it. It's up, and it shows you because they said for years and decades, even after Theodore Roosevelt died, they still was shitting on his name and shitting on the fact that he had dinner with Booker T, even after they both passed away. So they were still plotting on him to the point where, as um, World War, what was that? As the Tuskegee Airmen are fighting in World War II, I believe. Is that World War II? You got them starting the Tuskegee experiment at the same time. So they start the Tuskegee experiment, and then at the same time, Tuskegee Airmen are off fighting the fight. So while the pilots are out, defending the nation, by the time you coming home, they done poison most of the women and excuse me, they was targeting the men. So they targeted the rest of the men, and the men are giving it to the women, and just destroying families. So that lasted 40 years, and it was in the middle of a generation. Understand, a generation is 20 years. Anytime you hear generation, it's 20 years. A generation equals 20 years. So from 1960 to 1980 is one generation. From 1980 to the year 2000, that's another generation. The year 2000 to the year 2020, that's another generation. So that's how you count it. You don't count it no other way, right? So they called it in between the generations. So they called it 1930, right? So if a generation starts at 1920 to 1940, so if I catch, they called it right in the middle of 1930, and it ended 1970, 1972 it ended, right? So, which is also the middle of another generation. But they did it for two generations and both caught them in the middle. So it lasted multiple generations after that. So the apology even came another generation after that. So that specifically was targeting Theodore Roosevelt for the dinner that he had with Booker T. And the Rockefellers and all the rest of those, hyper racist eugenicists, that program from then all the way to now, it's the same deal, and it's the same, plan, same plot. And no matter how many fact checkers, try to fact check and say this and say that about what they're doing today, like, oh, come on, it's not genocide, it's not this, it's not that. So how come the vaccine companies, like you said, the vaccine companies are cleared from any liabilities or anything like that? How come everybody who's injured are not able to speak after that? How come you gotta, bomb this community because the nurse is speaking out? So we could talk like, so there's a lot, there's a lot going on. But again, we're strong, we focus, we're gonna make it through it because it's simple minded shit. Like it's small stuff. Again, I don't know what those other guys are talking about. I know they don't know. They're not adding it up like this. So this is my theory. This is my explosive theory that it's these guys with the big bank that's just paying. It's like hush money and just trying to cover up their tracks. And you already know I'll post what I some of the other stuff. I just keep a little, bear with me. Again, my computer is not, it's not the same anymore. So just bear with me with those little 15-second videos and all that. But yeah, let me see what the people talking about. They don't have a black man in the regular. Yeah. It's not letting that link go up. It says error, try again. And even with the comments, I just had to fix something on the comments because people would comment and it would hide it. And when I would try to approve the comment, it was like not allowing me to approve the comment because I like to comment back and all of those things on the regular video. So please do comment, even if you don't see the comment on the thing, the comments are there. But for some reason, it wasn't allowing me to approve the comments. So sometime it take a little bit of time. But what I did was I, just rearranged the setting so I won't have that problem of struggling to approve it afterwards. So it's just going to go through. So when I get those, because I was getting those crazy comments, first. So I was like, I'd rather pre-approve everything first. But at this point, a comment is a comment. Like a bot, a crazy comment, I be needing them at this point. Everybody else getting up that, everybody else having a full show. But yeah, see, it's like saying error, it's not letting it go through. All right. So yeah. But yeah, I appreciate the logging on. What's this? Dang, see the messages is blocking all these messages, man. Let me see. I'm trying to say it says hide or show, and I'm pressing it so I can show it. Did it another moderator just okay, you figured it? You got it out? Is it going through? Yeah. Okay. Maybe it went up. Okay. Word. So if there's anything that I missed or that you wanted to chop up before I click this thing off, please speak now. Leave a message now. Hey, there you go. There you go, Pit Boss. I start talking about Booker T. Pit Boss gonna pop up. I'm telling you. Yeah. So yeah, I was trying to get him on. Listen, if this was the other system, he probably would have been able to jump right on and fill you in with that. But he got a dope, a lot of breakdowns on Booker T on his channel. So definitely check those out. But for a fact, I'm telling you for a fact, Like I seen it because of the dinner. And from that dinner, from that time on, tell me about the inside of the music matrix. The music industry is shattered too, man. Don't you see? Like the music industry is hanging on to stealing older cats publishing. Like what's his name? What's it? L.A. Reid publishing gone. Like like he sold his. Like all of these guys are like all of these guys that that preach ownership. They're jumping ship now. Business is business. You know what I'm saying? Like business is business. Like you create a company to sell the company. That's business. But publishing is something that creates wealth and generates wealth for your family. You know, for generations afterwards. But a lot of those guys in the industry are not, they're not even worthy of a conversation like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that deep anymore to me personally. It's great stories because, I as a musician and everyone's love for music and how, how music saved a lot of lives. At the same time, that matrix is not as deep as it's not rocket science anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like all like every story about the industry and the devil and this and all of that other stuff is like it's the same plot, the same guys who would, like I've been I don't know if you guys seen that show Ma Black Bottom or whatever, that Chadwick's last show where Frederick, peace to you too, bro. Um where the guy where Chadwick was writing these songs and they wind up having like somebody else sing them and they was now that's a good example of what happened to uh the Tuskegee Institute. It's the same example. It's like you're doing this and you're doing good and all of a sudden they try to wash you out by either putting somebody else there or just corrupting your whole program. So you got, you know, um, you know, whether it's Public Enemy, KRS-One, or you know, Grandmaster Flash, whoever was doing just basic, music or whatever at the time. If you just think about, we was just and people start talking about doing the right thing and Tupac's and all of that, and he start mixing and mingling with Khalid Muhammad and all of the like they seen where music was going and what did they do? They blindsided us with the, you know, quote unquote gangster rap and all of this, you know, drug dealer and pill popping. So you can't deny that. So if you can't deny that, and as an insider and as fellow insiders, you know that's what it is. Like dungeon families, a lot of dudes who was just on the right path and doing the right thing, and you got a few loose strings that veer off, but in all actuality, the good guys were good guys, and you know the mob and all of it, like they're online now saying, yeah, we was involved in this, and then you got racism and this and that and Cotton Club and all of that. So like it's that Booker T is not exempt from that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not exempt from being bombed on the same way W.E. Du Bois is not exempt from being infiltrated and bombed on, and the same way Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Everybody have their flaws and have their mistakes or their programs or whatever. Because if that program was so solid or his program was so solid, nobody like it still would exist today and would be fully functional in a way where we can survive off of it. And we're not. We all scrambling to recreate something else. So that's why I'm like, none of these guys are like perfect, and you don't. I don't knock them. I'm just saying you. I always take the best of the situation. You learn from somebody else's mistakes, and a lot of times it takes most of those guys to the end of their run, to the end of their lives, whether it's Frederick Douglass to uh, Martin Luther King to whoever, Malcolm X. It's always at the end of their term where they realize like, oh my God, I was bamboozled. It's like at least they have the integrity to speak up. You know what I'm saying? W.E. Du Bois, he's at the end of his rope. He was like, "Wow, I was bamboozled too." You know what I'm saying? Like, they everybody, Frederick, all the rest of these guys, they say it like when you in the middle of the forest, you don't see you don't see it like that. You see tree, tree, tree. You don't see it as a forest. You don't see the bigger picture. Whereas like looking back on the history, I'm like, it's not hard to see, you know, our flaws. And as an artist, bigger than just more than just music, as an illustrator, as a painter, like I can see a blank canvas and I can visualize things on that canvas. You understand? And that's how I create things that you don't see. I can see it before it's there. So that is, that's the thing why the arts and the musics are targeted, because before there's lyrics on a beat, you got to hear it first. Before there's even a beat, you got to hear it. You got to hear what somebody else don't hear you. And it's like you're pulling from a place, from a God's space. So there's things that people that are more literal and more traditional, where again, when I was in court, they even had to explain to my son's mother, like, he's an artist, he thinks different. And honestly, that's how I won my case, because I was like, I seen things from an outside of the box perspective, where I was like, wait a minute, if y'all gonna do this, I mean, I had to see the play. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to see the play, and in the beginning, I was naive to it because I'm thinking that they're going to do the right thing. So it's the same thing with everybody else. Every man has his thing, but not everybody is blessed with the same gifts. Everybody has their gift. So I'm just saying, with my gift that I share, I say, okay, look, I went through it. Now I use my gift, and this is how I seen this. Now here's the warning sign. I'm putting the warning sign, like the warning sign on the cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, cancer or whatever, whatever. Like, okay, the warning sign is there. Now you could go down that path and have fun. You know what I'm saying? But at least the warning sign was there for those who's paying attention to what's that or what's this. So I'm just one of those people who I'd rather not make the same mistakes again. I'd rather not dig the same holes. If somebody already dug that hole or whatever, I'm not trying to do that. My thing is like, we're in a space where we can keep going to a better place. And I mean, while we alive and fully functional, I don't want people to think that I'm talking about dying or no crazy shit like that. What about China? What are they trying to do? Okay, music is up. J. Cole too. I appreciate that too. And yeah, you already know the goal is get to that. So yeah, with the music. Wait a minute, I don't want to skip my brother question about China. I'm not going to skip that question. Salute Royale. What's going on with the Rochester, New York fire? That was a printing company. Everyone is focused on Nashville. Yeah, yeah. So see, the thing is, man, if I it's so much to say. It's so much to say, because like if you understand, like, I know who I am and they knew who I am, or whatever, right? So certain things are done for certain reasons. Like the mayor of Rochester is a Democratic mayor, and she's with Biden and Camilla and the rest of those things, right? So when they needed her to pop off, she didn't pop off. They wanted her to destroy the city. Now, being a part of the city and being from New York, I'm like, oh, I see what they're trying to do, right? So the same way I start the arrest Bill Gates hashtag, I'm like, that's bullshit hashtag. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. So you talk to this person in the community, that person in the community, and they kind of neutralize what could have been a really, really terrible situation, right? So because the people, didn't all the way go hard as they wanted to, because they imported people from Canada to Rochester, from Buffalo to Rochester, to try to tear it up, um, just to help, that Democratic mayor that was going to supposedly go with the program, because all the Democratic cities, all the Democratic mayors and governors, etc., they was co-signed, like, all right, you're green lighted to do it. She didn't do it. So, there's still little small, repercussions that happen here, that happen there, that happen there, for not following through and hoping, because there's a lot of medical facilities in this place, and they ship that and they do this and then they import this to there, and there's, this system is there. And when you understand the history of these cities and these different places, you know, you you know what it is, you know what you're dealing with, that they're trying to reignite, you know, the wrong part. But at the same time, again, there's a flip side to that coin where that countered that, because there was, that counter has always been there. So um, certain things, you know, the reason why the Nashville thing is bigger is because there's more doctors and more scholastic institutions of the medical field in certain locations, like a Rochester, uh, like like Boston would be for technology. Um, Certain places, there's just certain strengths, and when you got a community of doctors, right, and they see what it's doing, they're not in the rush to do that shit. You understand? Like the inventor of the shit is like, you see the CEO of Pfizer is like, nigga, I take that vaccine. What are you, crazy? It's like, I want to go to the back of the line. It's like, nah, you the inventor, take it. You know what I'm saying? So most of these people are they're the ones where a lot of the chaos initiated from. So they know, like, they study the stuff. So, the testing, everybody was rooting for the testing. And I'm like, yo, what do you think after you do the testing? What after the test is, what do you think is the solution, right? Because they're gonna say, if the tests are rigged and you take a rigged test and they say you got it, what are they saying do after that? They saying take the vaccine, right? So you seen, and plan after that was put your medical thing on the chip, and the thing on the chip is for you to go travel, et cetera, et cetera. And again, that's like the guy selling a broken vacuum, or the corny ass blender that you don't need. You understand? So it's like the same end game, but what spoiled it is their overconfidence or their arrogance, that they really felt like this vaccine, like they really think or really thought, just from, you know, like their disconnect from Donald Trump, whereas Donald Trump is more connected with the people than they are. So when he's like, you can't do that to the people, like you got to give them something and they'll stay quiet. Like these guys are like, they don't, they from the Reconstruction mindset, like put them on a chow line mindset. And while just, while these young dudes and kids is like, man, like we could clap our way to success, or do this and that, do that, or like technology, these computers and the communication through these computers have made their job way harder than they thought it would be, because they really, if this was 1990, shit would be really fucked up right now. Like things would really be bad, because the media had a stranglehold, right? It was only the cable stations, CNN and this and that, and you see how corrupt they are, and they still trying to, say, well, this and that, and and like when you go out and you might be at a place or a store or whatever, and I see they got CNN on, and for the 3 seconds that I'd be watching a program, I'd be like, look at like the shit they be saying, man. Like they be saying that like the opposite, or they'll just skip an entire story and then they tell you the truth within the, like, we'll come back with this story about the allergic reaction that the nurse had, and the pork inside of the bill and this and that. They say that, and then when they come back, they talking about more of the crap. You understand? So it's not like you can expect much from the media in China. The whole deal is to sell, is just pushing the US to the brink of destruction the way Britain did China. Britain put China in a position with that opioid explosion, the opium explosion in Britain. I mean the corporations and the gangsters and the private industry funded by the British banks that destroyed China's progress to the point where nobody on the planet thought China would come back, right? Until the 1970 Rockefeller deal, saying, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Y'all gonna you know, create this, do this. We'll give you, we'll put you back in the game, but you gotta make a play for us, right? So that deal has been in play since 1970, all the way to what we're dealing with today. But the thing is, China has excelled their computer program. They have one of the fastest computers on the planet. The U.S. is one behind them, and then China, U.S., Russia, etc. So with the supercomputers, and they're trying to get to this whole quantum speed, etc., etc. But just to answer your question, is Britain that put Rockefeller in play, that put China in play. So you see Obama's daughter is dating a British guy. Like all of these things be out in the open, plain sight type situations where like if you got the they live shades on, you kind of like can see like like his daughter's dating the friggin' is dating a thing, and this one is hooked on cocaine. His other daughter's on cocaine. Like what I'm saying, like all of these things are the play to destroy everything. And that bill was actually to destroy and finish off the U.S. and fund World War III basically. So that's why my whole conversation was, from the prior years was like, yo, reparations, because they got the money. You know what I'm saying? And every time I say yes, you got 10 black people that say no. And I'd be like, I don't get it. It's like, I just don't get it. Like, where you think the money's going? Like, you say no, they take the money and they send it to Pakistan for a gender program. Let me read a couple of things. Yeah. You said they think the famous people are taking a fake shot for sure. Yeah, she's dating a British dude. Yeah, so uh, it's definitely the snake eating itself. So the only way for America, for the United States, even because it's been the United States versus America for a really long time, and the only reason is because the United States, that corporation from Reconstruction era, from the Great Reset, that whole thing has been to that program was created to simply uh, take over the whole construct, the infrastructure of America, and it would be easily infiltrated by people from Britain that were agents of Cecil Rhodes and the Rhodes Scholars and those gangsters that overtook England. And if you understand uh, uh, the Brexit, and you see France and Europe and the European Union, and like they're not even unified. You understand? Like that's their shit, and they're not even unified with their own thing. So it's because those guys, created an organization so powerful that they're making their own that tribe from that area, deal with them. You understand? So even if okay, yeah, it was great Europe or England or whatever, like, but they still answer to that organization that's been complained about for century after century. And then so when they came over here, that was the whole deal. They was like anything that England had their hand on, those bankers from Britain was like, oh, 1619, ha, take that. That's ours. 1620, they took it. You know what I'm saying? So that whole they keep popping up. So when 1776 happens, that's the whole thing. Like, so that's been the whole thing. That's why Britain keep popping up. That's why China keep popping up. That's why certain things that, Israel and all these guys who got these shell companies. So you send the money to over here, all they doing is sending that money so they can, to these other places because you won't take the money, like because the African American, uh, you know, hasn't been as vocal as needed. You know, I I did what I made the conversation go viral. Like the shit went viral, whether people laughed at me for it or not. It doesn't matter. I made it go viral. I made it a real conversation, and it made it to the mainstream media. For the past few years. So, but look at my numbers, man. It's like look at the people. Like people were shitting on me, the numbers is through the roof. You know what I'm saying? Like when it was smashing on and bashing on me or whatever, the numbers is through the roof. Like, but then when it's like, yo, that's the integrity. No integrity. Like again, Dr. Clark said, honor and obligation. People don't. There's no honor, no obligation, no integrity. That's what it is. That's where we wind up. So yeah, I appreciate logging on. Even down to the wire. But I'm gonna get out of here. Please hit that like button. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, the notification, because when I post videos, and I'm still a musician, you still see, man. I put up the music, the freestyles, and the different things. I just want you to enjoy the things that I enjoy. And till next time, next Saturday, let's try to do it again. Till then, I'll put up a couple of things. And you already know. Follow me on the Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTubes, the Cash App is up. It's Rawyal 10 Rawyal 10 for the Cash App, and I appreciate anything that is sent. I appreciate it. Until I figure out, I'm still getting my life squared away, man. I'm recovering, man. I'm a recovering child support victim. Peace.